Greetings everyone, and welcome to a special Timey-Wimey Tuesday update. This is one that's been kind of in the making for a while because I kept forgetting to do updates and stuff has kind of piled up a little bit. So I've got a couple of Blu-ray sets to show you today. As well, I went to the used bookshops here in town a few times over the past few months and picked up some more books for the Target collection as well as a few others. So let's check it all out today on Timey-Wimey Tuesday on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Okay, so quite a lot of stuff to go through here. Let's start with the big one, shall we? Here we go. I picked up the complete Peter Capaldi collection on Blu-ray. Very nice. Whoa, and it's going to fall on my face. Now, this one actually just has a J card, like a backing, which gives you all the contents and stuff on the back. Unlike the Matt Smith collection, which actually has the Blu-ray bar printed on it, so there's no way to get rid of it. However, one thing that is nice is these two sets are exactly the same size. So they actually line up very nicely with each other, as you can see. Very good. Now, because this is a fairly deluxe set, I'm actually thinking of doing a closer look at it, just kind of give you a whole, you know, a detailed, in-depth look at the contents here. We'll just take a quick peek here. So it slides out much like the Matt Smith set. Nice sturdy box, very nice. And then inside we have all this cool, shiny design work. Very, very pretty. Get some photos from the show and the various characters in it. And then inside it's designed very similarly to the Matt Smith set. So here you've got, you know, the Doctor in various poses. And then it's just basically cardboard sleeves, just like the other set, and you have the contents listed along the bottoms there. And there we go. Very nice. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I definitely like getting these collections because it's great to have like a Doctor's entire run all in one set like this. Is very, very nice. And it makes for a pretty nifty display piece, too. So there's this one. Set that there. Well, I guess we'll put the new stuff up on the shelf here so you can actually see it. I'm just going to move these things down here. Sorry, Cybermen. I'm just going to get you out of the way. And there we go. So next up, now this was kind of a special one because we're getting the DVD release of this over here, but apparently the Blu-ray release was exclusive to the UK. However, good old Zavi.com actually released the Blu-ray edition region-free. In fact, I think all the Blu-ray editions are region-free. However, that said, you do need to have something of a region-free player to play it anyway because of the way the video is encoded. It's actually encoded in 1080p 50 frames per second, which is a PAL frame rate. So North American players, not all of them can play that format. But so I initially tried to play this on my PS3, and it would not play. It wouldn't get past it would get to the menu, but it wouldn't go past the menu. It wouldn't play anything. But I got a PS4 recently, and the PS4 plays it fine. What am I talking about? Shada. Yes, the new, this is the deluxe 3-disc edition Blu-ray of Shada. So this has pretty much everything that was on the DVD release from a few years back. And there is a regular Blu-ray edition that's 2 discs. And this is the Steelbook, which has this lovely custom artwork. Now, of course, Shada is the story that was never completed. They did all the location work and one studio session, and then strike action prevented them from actually being able to finish the story. So for this edition, they actually reunited all of the surviving cast to provide voices for their characters, and then did full color animation for all the stuff that wasn't filmed. So it's very cool. This is basically the most complete edition of Shada we've ever had. There was a really nice version done by Ian Levine a few years ago in much the same way, where he had actually hired an animation studio to do animation for it and got all the surviving actors except for Tom Baker. So he had a fellow doing an impression of Tom Baker. And that version was really well done too. But this is the first time we've had an official version, and it actually does have Tom Baker doing the voice of the Doctor. And it comes with this nice, nifty booklet all about the making of the production and the restoration and stuff like that. So in this case, I guess they have the original film prints of the studio footage. So they were able to do that in high def, of the location footage, and then the studio footage, I guess, was just upscaled. But that said, I mean, it looks really good. Like, they did a really nice job of it. So I definitely recommend grabbing this if you have the ability to play PAL format high definition stuff. If not, there is a DVD edition coming out for the North American marketplace a little later this year. Yeah, so this is notable in that it was the first, I guess, sort of non-high def thing done for Blu-ray. Well, I guess the animation's high def, the film footage is high def. The only stuff that isn't high def is the studio footage. But I'm guessing kind of a test to see how well received this was, because now, of course, you may recall I did a video a while back where it was rumored that we were getting Tom Baker's first season on Blu-ray. Well, rumor no longer. That set is now out. It is official. It has happened, and apparently looks great. Now you may be wondering, hey, did you get it? No, not yet. It is definitely one that I do plan to get. For the slight upgrade in quality for the picture, but also for all of the extras. They include all of the extras from the previous DVD editions, plus a ton more stuff. There's so much stuff on that set. It's definitely worth picking up, in my opinion. And also, I'd say, anybody who's waffling about it, get it. Because if that set sells well, then the chances are only better that they're going to do more. So I know a lot of you have been wondering if they're going to do season sets of the classic series. Well, it looks like yes, they will, if this one sells well. So please support this release. I definitely plan to pick it up as soon as funds permit. All right, so next up, books. So I went to the used bookstores in town a few times over the past few months, and they had, a varying selection. They didn't have a ton of the Target novelizations. One of the bookstores in town actually does have quite a few of the Missing Adventures and the New Adventures and the BBC books that followed after Virgin Publishing lost the license. So I'm probably going to pick up a bunch of those because there's quite a few of those I've wanted to read over the years. So in the meantime, here's what I did pick up. So I got this one here, which is Doctor Who, The Terrestrial Index by Jean-Marc Lofficier. Now this is the second of 3 reference books that he wrote back in the late 80s, early 90s, I guess. When was this? 93, I think, wasn't it? 91, so early 90s. But this one's pretty cool. It basically gives you the history of Earth according to Doctor Who. So it uses all of the existing lore at the time. Well, I guess for the TV show, I don't think it gets too much into the the comics and the books and stuff like that. It just kind of sticks to the TV show. But it gives us the history of Earth according to the classic series. So the entire history of Earth in chronological order, and how the Doctor influenced different events along the way and stuff like that. And just so yeah, kind of cool. It's kind of an interesting companion piece to this book here, which I've had for quite a while, which is Doctor Who, A History of the Universe, which is, a history of the universe according to the lore of Doctor Who. This one actually does get into a lot of the novels and comic stories and stuff like that, and just kind of compiles everything together into one, attempts to do it as just one massive continuity, giving a definitive history of the universe, dating back quite a ways and going quite far into the future as well. So the other book that Jean-Marc Lofficier wrote that has been an absolute must for me, and essentially one of my Bibles of information about the classic show, is this one here, Doctor Who: The Program Guide, which has just been an invaluable resource over the years to just kind of quickly see what order stories go in. If I can't quite remember something, just look up some cast and crew information, what have you. It's just been an invaluable resource over the years. Now, of course, we have the internet, so reference books like this tend to be a little bit redundant, but still really nice to have. So there is a third one that he did called the Universal Databank, which I would definitely like to pick up now, just to kind of complete the set of 3. And there we go. I see them both side by side. There we go. Very nice indeed. So yeah, so that was one. And then next up, speaking of the new adventures, this is one I had my eye on for a while because it kind of revisits the vampires from State of Decay, which I just rewatched recently with the boys when we were watching Tom Baker's final season. So I saw this one at the used bookstore and thought, yeah, I'm going to grab that. So we have Blood Harvest, which is a 7th Doctor adventure. It also guest stars Romana and is written by, the most prolific Doctor Who scribe ever, Terrance Dicks. So very cool stuff. And then this one actually leads directly in to the first book that Virgin did of the Doctor Who missing adventures, namely Goth Opera, which is a 5th Doctor story, which takes place in between Snake Dance and Modern Undead. And this is written by Paul Cornell, who's also quite a prolific Doctor Who author. He's written a lot of books and comics, and I think he's even written some scripts for the show. But great stuff. So this kicked off their Missing Adventures line. Kind of clever to do it as a direct tie-in with the New Adventures. Kind of get people interested in it. And so the Missing Adventures, so the New Adventures basically featured the 7th Doctor continuing on from right after Survival, the last televised story of the classic series. And then the Missing Adventures featured all of the 6 previous Doctors in New Adventures set in between the televised stories. So they weren't actually missing, per se. They were just new adventures with the classic Doctors set within the existing continuity of the show. The whole idea with the New Adventures and the Missing Adventures was to expand upon the existing continuity and to present stories that fit into that continuity to give you a broader mythology and such. So pretty cool idea. And as I say, the used bookstores in town here have quite a few of the New Adventures and the Missing Adventures, so I'd definitely be interested to pick those up because I've never read any of them. Now, this is one of the Missing Adventures, kind of interesting because it originally started as a fan film. We have Downtime. But it was a fan film that actually starred a lot of former Doctor Who actors and was presented as a story that fit into the existing continuity. Now, this essentially was a follow-up to The Abominable Snowman and The Web of Fear. And it actually starred Deborah Watling as Victoria and Nicholas Courtney as the Brigadier, and also had what's-his-face, who was Professor Travers. I think actually this has some photos in it. Yeah, it does. So it actually has some photos from the fan film. Now, the fan film, also entitled Downtime, has since been released on DVD and is now considered part of the official canon. So that's pretty cool, actually. Not many fan films have that distinction. Jack Watling, that's what it was. Jack Watling as Professor Travers. So there you go. So he's actually from the original stories, reprising his role. We got the Brigadier facing off against a Yeti there, and stuff like that. Oh, and we also have Elizabeth Sladen back as Sarah Jane Smith. So an absolute treat for fans of Classic Who. Now, the DVD has only been released in Region 2 land, so it's one that I definitely want to import at some point because I've never actually seen it, so it'd be pretty cool. All right, so next up we have some Target novelizations here. So first up we have Logopolis, which of course was Tom Baker's final story, written by the man who wrote the script, actually, Christopher Bidmead, so very cool indeed. And then I picked up Castrovalva, which is the story that immediately follows Logopolis, and is the 5th Doctor's first story. Now, I grabbed this, basically, whenever I see the novelizations, I just kind of grab whatever they have. I don't bring a list with me or anything, so it turns out I already have Castrovalva, so I have an extra copy now, so that's going to go into the giveaway pile. Yeah, some of you have been saying, hey, can you just give them away to me? No. Basically, what I'm planning to do with those is have like a giveaway contest at some point, so everybody has a fair chance. I'm not going to play favorites or anything like that. But essentially I'm waiting before I do that because I'm still in the process of collecting the Target books. So I imagine I'm going to wind up with a few more duplicates over the course of time. So what the plan is to just wait until I have what I have, and then just do a massive giveaway of whatever is in the stack, essentially. So believe me, you'll know when that's going to happen. Now, speaking of missing adventures, this one is kind of one of the first books that they did of missing adventures. This was actually Target did this before Virgin came along. We have The Nightmare Fair. Now, this is a little bit different. Whereas the missing adventures were original stories written specifically for novels, this one was adapted from a script that was originally going to be part of Colin Baker's second season. But then, of course, in 1985, the show went on hiatus and didn't come back until mid-1986. However, there was a bunch of scripts that had been written for his second season that never got produced. So The Nightmare Fair is one, Mission to Magnus is another one, and there's a couple of others, I think. Now, these have since had audio adaptations by Big Finish. So we did finally get a dramatized adaptation of them starring the man himself, Colin Baker, as the Sixth Doctor. But for the longest time, these scripts were kind of an enigma. Like, it was like the season that almost was but wasn't. So Target Books stepped in, got a hold of the scripts, and did novelizations of them. So this one's actually written by Graham Williams, former Doctor Who producer. He produced Tom Baker's second and third last seasons, I believe. And then, yeah, so pretty cool. Now, last but most certainly not least, this one was quite a lucky find. I have an alert on Amazon that lets me know when certain Doctor Who Target novelizations drop below a certain amount in price. Because there's a few titles, I guess, had really low print runs, and they're kind of sought after by collectors and tend to go for a pretty penny. This is one of them that I got an alert saying that it was on for, it normally goes for like $50 or more, typically. So I got an alert saying that it was available from this one particular seller in very good condition for $6. So I was like, $6? Done. I just happened to have some money on hand, so I went and snagged it. It took a long time to get to me, but it eventually did get to me. Which one am I talking about? Well, the classic Second Doctor adventure, The Evil of the Daleks. There you go. And this is actually quite a much thicker one. Now, this does continue the numbering from the Target books, but this was actually published by Virgin. So there was still a couple of stories that Target didn't get around to that Virgin picked up the slack on. I think there's still a couple more stories that do not have adaptations just due to some rights issues or what have you. But the vast majority of them are out now. And I remember a lot of the Dalek stories were the big holdouts. Just some kind of kerfuffle with the Terry Nation estate, I think, or some of the original writers or something. Anyways, some stupid rights entanglements that took forever to unentangle. So some of the very last books in the Target range it's just like a string of Dalek stories. Now, the problem with that is it took so long for them to do them that by the time they got to the end of the range, not a lot of the books were getting reprints, so a lot of them only had one print run. Now, you go back to the earlier books, like all the, first and third and fourth and fifth and all those, they have a lot of different printings of those, so they tend to go for cheap because there's a lot of copies out there. Not so with this one and a lot of the later Dalek stories that were adapted. So as a result, people who are trying to collect them now, it's difficult to find them for a decent price. So I really lucked out with this one. There's still a few more that I need. I need Power of the Daleks, which was also put out by Virgin as to help finish off the Target line. What else? I need one of the parts of the Dalek Master Plan. I can't remember which one. I think it's where is it here? Yeah, I need part 1 of the Dalek Master Plan, Mission to the Unknown. Yeah, and then I also need a few other random ones. But yeah, some of the Second Doctor stories, for whatever reason, had really low print runs, and or just only one print run, so as a result, they're a little more expensive. Also, a lot of the Seventh Doctor ones, because again, that was getting towards the end of the era, and so they just didn't get as many printings, so they tend to be a little harder to find. So I'm working on it. I mean, as I find them in the used bookstores, I grab them, and then if I can't find them anywhere else, or if fans don't find them where they are and send them to me or something, then I just order them online and just kind of shell out the bucks for them if I need to. But the quest goes on. Alrighty. Some of you are probably wondering, hey Sean, what about the story-by-story reviews? When are you going to do those again? When? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I want to do more of them, but the simple fact of the matter is not a lot of people actually watched them. I know those of you who did watch them really enjoyed them, but it takes a lot of work to put those particular ones together because there's so much preparation that I need to do for them. I got to watch the show, I got to watch the story that I'm reviewing, then I watch it again with the commentary if there is one, watch all the extras on the DVD, and read the novel, and dig around for any cool behind-the-scenes tidbits and stuff that I can dig up and throw into it. So there's a lot of prep work that goes into those, and I have to kind of gauge, like, well, where do I draw the line between doing something simply because I enjoy it, or is it just more work than it's worth because not many people are watching them? Like, I mean, I'm not going to bother just doing them for myself. I mean, I need to have a reason, i.e. an audience. But that said, I'm still planning to do at least a few more, and we'll kind of gauge a little better there. I mean, there's only 2 episodes out of it, so I'll do a few more, and we'll kind of see where it goes. And if if the viewership picks up a little bit, then yeah, I'll probably keep doing them. But as to when, I don't know. So please don't bug me to death about it. I have no idea when I'm going to do them. Like, your guess is as good as mine. Like, I honestly don't know. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Just stay tuned. You'll be the first to know, I promise. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. Hope you enjoyed this mega update. Lots of cool stuff. Lots of Who. As always, I mean, it's such a massive franchise. There's always more stuff to enjoy. So, yeah, I'll see you next time in whatever form that takes. So until then, thanks for watching. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors. And sayonara. So now, I think we want to sit and see. The angle was very cleverly positioned so you can't see any of the new items on the shelf. So I don't think you can. Oh, you might have been able to see one of them. Oh, hi. Just burping rudely in your face. Oh shit, hold on. Yeah, this isn't an awkward place to do a video at all. Not awkward in the least. This is a very tight squeeze, as I'm sure you can see here. There, I'm just like jammed into the corner here. I don't know how well you can see, like it's just kind of crammed in there. Really, little kid running around like a maniac? Really?
Hi! I'm a little head in the corner. Hi!
Can we move up a little bit? I swear I wasn't this low before. Like, do I need a booster seat? Like,